Once that we've seen the first circuit, we're born and we start managing our territories and the emotions. We have to understand that emotions and territories are associated. I have territories which can be houses, the reaches that I have, cars, economy, wealth, health. Those are territories that one can reach, and they reflect emotions. Also, the emotions are directly proportionate to the reaches that I have. And we can see this really clear when they sell us something. Usually, what they sell us is involved around certain emotionality, which makes me want that to feel a certain way. Both of those things are located in the same part of the brain. My emotions are usually contained mostly in the middle brain, where desire is located as well. This circuit, in difference to the first one, we have more awareness when we work in it. Why? Because what I desire versus my emotions are at stake. Usually, what we desire has to do with covering an emotional need. The work we do there is really simple because you tell me what emotions you have and I will tell you what you need. Or tell me what you desire and I will tell you what emotions you can provoke within yourself. It's like a back and forth between what I desire and the emotions that I lack, or the emotions that I have and what I can reach out there. The first part in the reception phase has to do with the emotional roles. The baby is born and he starts to see all the emotional roles that there are around him. They have to do with nutrition, hygiene, contact, and affection. These four fundamental elements we can observe when mom hears his baby cry. Mom finds out if he needs to be fed, he needs to be changed, he needs to be hugged, or he needs emotional affection. Those four things were gestated in the previous circuit with the organic connection and the social connection. Mom can perfectly read what the baby is emitting and what he needs. So mom goes ahead and provides this for him. The thing is how mom provides this to him. How he feeds him, how long does she leave him there dirty, how she demonstrates her emotional affection or her contact. Imagine if she's forcing the food inside of him, there's an impression, emotional impression that is going to be loading the chemistry, which he's going to build his emotions on top of. If mom is going to force these things, then growing up is going to be needed to be forced in order to provide himself with the emotions to go ahead and do his stuff. If mom gives him affection, then when he grows up, he's going to go ahead and do things with that same affection. This circuit is related with the previous circuit. If he had problems when he was born, then he's going to go ahead and start things with that suffering. So if you see, this is a chain of biological consequences, biological, chemical impressions that come about and develop behaviors that give him certain emotions that have to do with the previous four things that we spoke about. Same thing happens when you have to clean him up, when you have to change his diaper. If somebody had problems with this, mom said like, don't change him. He's gonna be dirty later again. So it's gonna be a person that's gonna be irritated when he grows up, as he was irritated when he had those problems. He's gonna have problems with his economy, with IRS, with paperwork. He's not gonna look into the order that he needs within his stuff, mostly with the emotions and the territories that he has to reach. He's gonna just leave him there. A person that just gets divorced and doesn't go ahead and fixes that. Person who has problem with his credit, with his paperwork, with money, is a person that had a type of this issue. So somebody that studies, goes ahead and finishes his career, but never go ahead and transmits his title. That's a person who has issues with his emotions. He doesn't have enough emotions to go ahead and make contact with his process. Or in the end, he just doesn't mind about it. He doesn't have enough emotions to go ahead and finish his stuff. Once all the emotional roles are detected, who feeds you, who cleans you, all of this, the baby has a really extraordinary sense of perception. The baby doesn't know, doesn't see that he's the one that moves. For example, we see a baby that's looking at his hand and then at his food, and he thinks that those things outside of him are moving. He's not aware that he's the one that's moving his hands or his foot. A lot of people get stuck there. When this happens, the person thinks everyone is talking about him, that they're laughing about him when somebody's laughing. And people are stuck there. Some people that are stuck there a lot of time. They cannot advance. They think that all the world is surrounded around him. Another pathological aspect, when this is a little bit deeper or the issue goes deeper, thinks that the Twin Towers fell down because he didn't buy certain stuff or he didn't do this or that. But it comes from there, from things that, oh, he's laughing at me. What is he saying at me? Is he thinking because I don't have the right clothes? All the type of people are stuck in this period, in this phase. Usually weak people, people that cannot transcend towards what they're looking for, towards what they need. They don't have their own emotional resources. They have to look for external agents to come ahead and motivate them, so they go ahead and do their stuff. In this period, in this phase, in the increment of intelligence, there's something really important that happens, the resistance towards movement. The baby starts to experience gravity on top of his muscles. There's an emotional effort that it's imprinted. The muscle tone is being built. The first experience, well, the second experience, because the first one is at a cellular level, the second impression has to do with the gravity on top of the muscles. The effort that he has to take to crawl, to pick up himself in order to stay his balance or maintain his balance, which muscles to tighten, to loosen up in order to walk. So gravity has an important effect at the muscle tone and the emotional part that we need to reach our things. A person that has a problem in the first circuit that has to do with all the cellular things and how he was being born and then how he's being fed. There's people that take long to walk, to talk, to communicate, others to form their first symbols and concepts in their heads towards what they have to express because they couldn't go through that process in a good way. There's babies that when they cry, you see them how their veins pop up and they get all intense. These are babies that had a physical intention above a lot of what most of the kids have. They have a different type of muscle tone because of how gravity was impressed in themselves. On the other hand, we have kids that can barely cry and they're like marshmallows. Is he really crying or is he making that up? They're just different because of the exertions and the effort that they had to go against gravity. In this case, are related to territorial or physical territories that have to do with reach something or how they use that to calm mom. The fusion in this circuit, emotional, territorial, has to do with overcoming gravity with their respective emotion. There's also in how we start to see the difference in how I cooperate with mom. What things I do for my mom to come over and give me what he needs, or what do I do in order to come near my mom so that she gives me what I need. This is something important during the fusion process because there's an interaction where I start to understand the emotional part and how this is related to the territories with my mother. So the first issues between mom and son or mom and daughter start. How does he call me? What do I do to make her laugh? How do I make her come over and give me what I need? So these are the games that further ahead have a really important transcendence. How do we work in the didactic workshops? The first work that is done is that the person has to understand what types of emotions that he has during the day, the most important ones. He has to explore them. What does it mean? The fact that for each thing he has to feel a certain way and he ends up feeling the same way. He has to come up with his own impression tunnel so that he understands what emotions he needs and where do they come from. Just chemistry. And it's going to be repeated when we go out there in the world. Since we go to kindergarten, we're looking to be treated the same way that we were treated in our houses, in our homes. If in my house I was the one who broke stuff and felt a certain way, that same thing is going to be repeated out there in my school, so I get treated the same way. If I was being scolded in my house, over here I'm going to be scolded. If I was a nice and cute boy in my house, the politic and out there in school, I'm going to be the same. If in my house there was a lying one, out there I'm going to be the same. So this lasts approximately from 0 to 3 years old. And this basic chemical structure that we had in the first circuit is going to be adjusted in how we relate out there. How do we work in the endocentric school or in the endic school? The first work is to observe which is the process of the emotions that each person has, to see the emotional patterns and what am I provoking. We need to identify the patterns through the elusive meditation so that we can detect them and modify them. But there's no specific issues that we need to treat, as in the didactic workshop.